What's the name of it? Sha-na-na-na, boom, boom. Take one.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Shuwei back for another episode of the One Mic Podcast. In the studio with me today, I have Amul and Vivek. Like always, it hasn't changed. What's up? Yep, we're gonna get a guest pretty soon, hopefully.
Are we? I don't know. I feel like we keep saying this. But
Nah, we will.
really happen.
We will for sure. So this week we're gonna do something a little bit different. Again, basically what we'll do is we'll start off by talking about some of the classic albums that we've enjoyed listening to over the last couple of years that people may have forgotten about. I know I have a couple R&B albums that I want to mention. Amol's got a couple rap albums, and Vivek might throw in something that he cares about.
We'll see. We'll see.
But before we start, I do want to mention that our playlists are live on Spotify. We are not going to be putting them on Apple Music, so if you don't have Spotify, it sucks for you. But
I mean, if you have the free Spotify, you can still take a look at that playlist. And you can play it.
You can shuffle play it.
Yeah, you can shuffle play it, and even just as like a list of music, you can just take a look at. You know what I mean?
yeah, so if you want to follow it, the link is on our Instagram page. If you click on the link tree link, I guess, in our bio, you can find the Spotify playlist over there as well. So go there, check it out. We have one for rap, we have one for R&B, we have one for Punjabi music. We do not have one for house or EDM just yet. We're still working on that.
Cough, cough, baby.
Yeah, I'll put it up.
But yeah, so one of the albums that I wanted to mention that people might have been sleeping on, or that people might have forgotten about, is PND 1, like Party Next Door 1. I thought that was a classic R&B album. It really put Toronto sound on the map. You know, like we've mentioned before, we're hardcore Canadians.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, a couple of great tracks on there. Break from Toronto. What else was on there?
It's like that one song. There's a lot of good stuff.
There was the track with Drake on there as well.
There was Right Now.
Yeah.
It was a good track.
Yeah, Right Now. Recognize? Was that on PND?
Recognize was Recognize was PND 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out for sure. Maybe I'll add some of those songs onto the playlist as well. That way you guys can hear some of our favorites. Another album that people might have forgotten about, classic R&B singer Miguel, Kaleidoscope. That's the album name. Sick track off of that album is How Many Drinks. It's got Kendrick on it. I don't know if you guys have heard
of Kendrick?
You heard of Kendrick Lamar? We were plugging him, yo. He about to blow.
He's gonna shine in the next couple of years for sure. But yeah, those are my two albums that I wanted to throw out there for people to listen to. Amor, what do you got?
The album that I think is a forgotten classic is Young Jeezy's TM 101, Thug Motivation 101. It came out in 2005. The big single off that album was Soul Survivor with Akon. It was a pretty big hit. Probably Jesus.
Yo, Akon is low-key a forgotten artist.
Akon really is. He really is. Like, that dude had a lot of hits back then.
I know, like early 2000s, like Akon killed it.
He was dominating like the feature game. Like, he was killing it.
What was Akon's last like big album? Freedom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freedom came out like 2010, 2009.
Yeah, he's focused on,
he's rescuing
Africa.
People.
Yeah.
It's good for him.
Yeah. But, this album was like basically like Jeezy comes out of Atlanta, and at that time like Atlanta hip hop was kind of all over the place. You had a lot of people coming out that would just drop like one hot single then they'll disappear.
That was like OJ the Juice Man times.
Yeah,
Dark
it
times
was,
for
it was dark times, but then like Jeezy came in with this album and like it just kind of like announced Southern hip hop as like, you know, we're a thing. It's not just about, you know, the East Coast, West Coast. Like obviously Outkast had their big album.
And you had that other Atlanta group, Scarface.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a group or just one dude.
I think it was one dude.
Yeah, it was one guy.
One guy.
Pimp C, Bun B, but like that's you know.
Yeah, like but like this was like their like coming out moment. Like this was like number 2 on the Billboard Top 100 for an album out of Atlanta was a big thing, and like it influenced a lot of different rappers. Like Kendrick Lamar, for example, talked about in Good Kid, Mad City how like that's all they used to listen to back when he was a kid.
Yeah.
Like they used to just bump Jeezy's last album, you know, like that's what he was saying. So like one of the more influential rap albums that I think has been forgotten nowadays.
Yeah, no one really respects Jeezy no more, but
I mean, he does his thing. He has his own label.
Jeezy had a pretty good album in 2017 or 18.
Yeah.
I forget what the name of the album was. I'll find it right now. But that was probably Pressure.
Yeah.
Couple of sick features on that album.
Yeah, he got Kendrick from him too. Holy Ghost.
Don't confuse Jeezy with G-Eazy.
Yeah, we're not talking about.
We're not talking about tall white boy.
We're not talking about a white boy. We're talking about young Jeezy.
Yeah.
He
changed his name a couple times.
Yeah, I think he just goes by Jeezy now. He's not young anymore. So
yeah, he's really not young. Yeah. Yeah, it was dope.
Like a sick track off that new album, like 2017 one.
Yeah.
Pressure featuring Kodak Black.
Yeah.
Another guy who's like in jail now.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna say free Kodak because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah, word.
Shout out Kodak, man.
He deserves to.
That guy was. Yeah, he's still like artistically like. Very
he's
talented.
good.
He's just stupid.
He's just stupid.
Yeah.
That's his life.
Yeah.
And like out of all the people that are in jail, I feel like Kodak. Like he was putting out music.
Tekashi was putting out music.
Well, he will now that he got his
but like
record
Tekashi's
label.
music was kind of annoying.
Not really. Tekashi's music was
Fifi
good.
was not that great.
Yeah, that was a bad one, but like the other ones were fun.
Yeah, the album was pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
I don't know. Not like my scene.
Oh well.
I'm gonna stick with the Atlanta scene. I'm gonna go with T.I. versus T.I.P. Ooh, that's a banger, classic as well. Again, one of those guys that's like a staple in Atlanta rap at the time.
Yeah, like that album really pushed them to like the top. Like what was some of the big singles off was Big Things Poppin', Little Things Stoppin'. Yeah,
you know what it is.
You know.
That's a bomb song.
He had a lot of bangers back then too. Like,
T.I. was a monster.
Yeah, like shout out to
I watched a T.I.
rap.
interview the other day.
Yeah.
And it was like back in 2004, and the guy who was interviewing him asked him what like where he sees himself in 10 years or in 15 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to be like, I see myself at the top, and I'll do whatever it takes to get to the top.
Yeah, he made it happen.
I feel like T.I. made it happen.
Yeah, he was up there. He was probably one of the biggest mainstream artists. Like Swagger Like Us, like around that time, like when he dropped that song.
Living Your Life with Rihanna.
Yeah, like he was top.
Yeah, he was killing it.
Even his album US or Else, like it's a pretty good album.
Yeah.
He came out with an album after that, but I didn't like it as much. But US or Else, was pretty solid.
Yeah.
So yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of it for our
Forgotten classics. Check
yeah.
them out. You know, maybe it'll spark some nostalgia and put you onto something different.
You already know.
So Vivek has a little scenario question, something like that.
Right. So this is something that me and Shoaib got into. I don't know, must have been like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay, shit.
We were hanging out with Odamul.
Yeah, we were.
I see how it is.
Yeah, I think it was the night you fell. I don't know what the fuck. You weren't here.
Yeah.
And
He fell?
I fell.
No, you were asleep or some shit. What's new? But it was something like 2018 was one of the highest years for sales of vinyl.
Yeah.
So we were getting into why we think that is, and I was saying that it's this idea of like sitting down and actually just appreciating something for what it is. Like you buy something, you're excited for it, you go to the vinyl store, go to the record store, you pick it up, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this thing front to back.
Shout out HMV Records. They don't exist anymore.
There's a lot of record stores.
There's still
There's Sunrise
Sunrise Records.
Yeah, they took over all the
and
HMV
Chinook,
stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think that we are? And like a lot of DJs talk about this. Like if you're like people like A-Track and stuff, they talk about this all the time. It's like they come from a time when they used to dig in the crates, you know.
Yeah, I used to watch like
Bro, they're
old,
not the only ones. Like
old DJ performers that like like I remember watching this old Armin. He did one recently too, but like where he would just I think he did one in 2015 where he did an entire vinyl set. So he was just like he'd play the vinyl,
Take them off.
he's take them off, but like just grab he had like a full box full and he'd just pop a new one in, like it was crazy to watch.
That's the origins of so many genres: hip hop, house, EDM. It comes from vinyl time. So now that we have like Spotify and all that, like, do you think us as a generation, like we're missing? Because we're too young for vinyls. Like, there was a vinyl player in my house when I was little. Yeah. But like I was too young.
I never had a vinyl player.
By the time I got into music, it was like CDs. By then.
Yeah.
So what are we missing out?
I don't know if we're missing out. It's just like something different, right? Like something nostalgic.
I feel like it's more than nostalgia though. I feel like a lot of people, they're missing out on the ability to actually enjoy something.
Yeah, that's
fully.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore. Everything's so on demand. Oh, I want to watch this movie. Fuck this shit. 10 minutes in is garbage. I'm gonna move to the next one.
Yeah.
It's like back in the day, like
if you had a DVD,
yeah,
you were watching that movie.
Yeah.
And that's the movie that you were watching that night. Like, and then you decided if it was garbage at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Right. And more like 9 out of 10 times you would just be like, yo, you know what? Fine. It was a trash movie, but I watched it.
Yeah, like even like CDs.
Yeah.
CDs, cassette players.
Bro, I remember burning CDs for people.
You would still like listen to the whole CD.
Yeah.
Listen to the whole cassette. You know what I mean? So like
we're so unable to just sit down and just sort of appreciate what we have in front of us now. Like we're such a jumpy generation.
Yeah, but I think there is definitely an element of like.
So why do you think that they're selling more vinyls now? Like, do you think that more people feel the way that we do?
I think like there's like an element of like this is a cool like quirky thing. Like instead of me just like playing it off like a stereo, which is kind of boring. It's not like different. Like this is like a cool thing. It's like it's almost like if you put in a vinyl player in your house, it's like not I don't want to say a piece of furniture because that like
it's like art. It's like having like a painting.
It's decor.
Yeah, it's
basically
like culture.
Like it's like this
but
is
like the new vinyl players that are coming out, they look sleek, they look modern. They like the picture of like a vinyl player that I see in my head is old school, like big
but they're
giant
still
box
they're still
with like a megaphone coming out of it.
Yeah, they're still inspired by the new ones. Are still inspired by the old.
Like the techniques, the audio.
Yeah, they're still inspired by the old vinyl players.
Yeah,
but it's nice to see that something that was so popular so long ago and was the only way that you could consume music is actually making a comeback in like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, because like when you think about it, right? Like,
what do you think is getting like the younger kids to actually go back to vinyl?
No, like because the way people are thinking about it is like, okay, we can get it on digital. We can get it like Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. We can listen to the album there.
But as soon as that subscription ends, all that music is gone.
No, but like you can listen to it there, or you can listen to the CD, or you can listen to the vinyl. But then, like, what's the point of listening to the CD?
Yeah,
the CD is essentially no different than the digital platform.
Yeah, with the vinyl, you're getting like the vinyl warmth.
You're getting like it's a different feel with the vinyl.
Yeah, it sounds different. Vinyls do sound different.
Yeah, they sound different. It's just like a different sort of way to listen to an album.
Yeah.
So it's like in the end, for a lot of people, it comes down to like, am I listening to an Apple Music or am I just gonna wait for the vinyl to come out?
Yeah.
So I think that's where it comes out of.
Something that people don't know, a lot of these new albums that are coming out, they do have vinyl release for most of them.
Oh yeah, like
right?
a lot of
go into
big albums.
Yeah, you can go into like most hipster stores and go pick up a vinyl. You can find them on Amazon. Like pretty much every album that has come out, like every mainstream album that has come out,
yeah,
you can find somewhere.
Yeah, we've been talking about getting like the Nothing Was the Same vinyl.
Yeah, that's what vinyl I want.
Yeah.
All the house records that come out on Defected, the big ones, not every record.
Yeah.
They come out on 12-inch vinyl.
Yeah.
And they sell out. They sell out in a week.
Yeah, imagine most of like the electronic stuff, big electronic albums, and
Yeah.
like the niche even genres.
Yeah.
They probably have pretty big on vinyl still, because you can actually play those, and you
Yeah.
can actually DJ off those.
Yeah. If you're still, I mean, I don't know who's DJing off vinyl
I know,
anymore,
but like
if
it's
you
probably
are.
like some like underground type shit,
Yeah, that's true.
The other day when I was at the mall, I saw like College Dropout was there as well on vinyl, and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy!"
What
it's so
store
nice
was
to-
this?
It was like a couple weeks ago.
Was it
Eh.
Sunrise?
No, it wasn't at Sunrise. It was this other like clothing store, and then they have like it's like a hipster.
Oh, was
store.
it Urban Outfitters? Because Urban
I don't
Outfitters has a
think
bunch.
so.
They have vinyl at Urban Outfitters.
Yeah, I've seen them have it.
Anyways, it's like they have this whole section where it's just like vinyl players, like record players.
Yeah.
And like a huge collection of like all these like modern albums that are available on vinyl, and they're a little expensive. That's
Yeah, they are.
that's true, but I mean, I feel like it's a piece of art that you're bringing into your home. Like when you see the album art blown up to like the size of a record,
Yeah.
it's nice to see,
It's
you know, like
it's cool, and especially because you can put that up on your wall,
yeah.
right?
Speaking of Kanye, like I was watching an interview of Pusha T,
Yeah.
and he was talking about his last album that just came out last year when Kanye did the whole 5-album drop. Like he produced all of them.
Yeah.
They were talking about the process for making like Pusha T's album, and he said the same thing. He's like, me and Kanye went down to some place, and we were there for 3 weeks, and Kanye was just bringing out record after record. He's like, he brought boxes upon boxes with him of just old music to use for samples and to listen to get inspiration. It makes sense.
Yeah, like I mean, say what you will about Kanye, but he does use a lot of old vinyl records to get samples off of and stuff.
Yeah, he was strictly a sample producer.
Yeah.
To start. He was early on in his career. That's what he does. He does it good. He does it real well.
Yeah, he's one of the best at it.
Yeah.
Bro, Kanye changed the game.
Oh yeah, like
Kanye
Kanye's-
made it okay for like people to come in and sing and like have shorter tracks and do like a lot of different
No,
stuff.
his like yeah, and like his
Introduce like different sounds to like a
his,
hip hop.
his big thing was like, he brought a different image of hip hop. You don't have to be like from the streets. You don't have to
No.
be ghetto. You just
And nowadays, like that's the shit that actually sells.
yeah.
Not people that are sitting down and acting like they're from the hood when they're really not.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody actually wants to hear those stories anymore. Those stories are played out. They've been
Speak for
told.
yourself.
Nah, bro. Like
Speak for
I'm
yourself.
Yeah,
talking.
I will say, I feel like in the last couple of years, gangster rap has sort of made a little bit of a comeback. But
Yeah,
like not in
yeah.
the traditional sense, like that trap gangster element has come back.
Trap gangster, and I think like a lot of the like I still like listening to like because I just grew up on like gangster rap. Like that's still
It was
like
the only rap.
yeah, that was the only rap, and that's still like what I grew up with, and I still like hearing those stories being told, not in like the ignorant sort of way, but like the sort of way like to bring it back to Jeezy, like when Jeezy and TM101 talked about one of his lines was like this isn't a rap, this is my life,
Yeah.
and like that was like okay, like he's not
Yeah.
even rapping about like bullshit.
If you really lived it.
Yeah, he really
Dope.
like lived that shit, And I still like hearing that story from like it's a perspective that I didn't know at the time when I was a kid.
I can see that. But yeah, vinyl's like I'm glad that they're making a comeback. I want to get like a collection started. Vivek has a pretty decent collection of
Yeah,
like
yeah.
classic records that
A lot
he's
of
sitting on.
Yeah, Beatles, White Album.
They're all over the studio
Dude,
right now.
Do you got that Nirvana, the pink?
I don't know if I have Nirvana. Nirvana's still 90s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my record collection's from the 60s and 70s. So there's a lot of discs. There's ABBA.
Do you have
You got Beatles?
There's tons of Beatles.
do you have Pink Floyd?
Pink Floyd, I think.
Oh, you got like the classic. What's
Well, it's my dad's, so I mean I haven't digged in the crate, but the big ones are definitely the Rolling
Do you have any
Stones.
Queen?
Queen again, that's 80s, isn't it?
Yeah,
Queen's
Queen
80s.
was pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't think any of this goes into the 80s. From what I can see,
Oh.
it's all 70s and 60s.
Yeah.
'Cause it has like some original recordings of the Beatles. Just that's 60s.
Yeah.
So,
That's a while ago.
Yeah.
that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But that's
I I know, and I don't have a record player, so like I need to get one and see how these things sound. Maybe we can just have a record party one day. That'd be dope.
I'm gonna be asleep.
Well, I mean, we'll be not very enthused by it, but it'll be really nice to hear it.
Yeah.
We'll all go out and buy like a record of our choosing.
Him bring it and listen to it.
Everybody just goes and picks up Nothing Was the Same. We're listening to the same album 3 times.
Nah, no one. Only one person can pick up this song.
I call dibs. But yeah, I guess that's all for our music talk today. So apparently people actually want us to discuss stuff on this podcast. So on these podcasts, and another listener actually sent us a scenario. Now the source of this scenario was pretty funny. It was a Pornhub article, which I don't know why you're on Pornhub and reading articles, but shout out to you, man.
More power to
Hey.
you.
Yeah.
Pornhub might have good articles.
So basically he wanted us to read the article, and then he wanted us to be in those shoes and asked us what we would do.
Yeah.
So the article was about the missile text that came through to Hawaii last year.
Yeah, the fake.
Right.
They got.
A fake. Well, it wasn't a fake text.
It wasn't a fake one. They thought it was real.
Yeah,
It was,
they like the entire population of Hawaii thought that they were gonna get blown up,
Down.
and
That's wild.
and they had like a 10-minute warning. Basically, they
Yeah.
said that missiles were headed their way.
and yeah, they got that text on their phone, like that emergency system.
Yeah.
And, like,
The
the,
beep, beep, beep.
yeah, the horn started
Yeah.
blaring there and shit, and they were starting to go crazy.
And basically, the Pornhub article said that traffic on their website dropped down by 77%.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder what the other people were doing. They really just didn't give a fuck.
It's
But
like we might as well finish off.
in those like 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
So what the listener wanted us to discuss was what would we do in that situation.
A missile was coming my way.
Yeah, like if you got that text saying, you know, you're gonna be blown up in 10 minutes.
I don't know if jacking off would be a priority.
Speak for yourself.
I don't know. That's a tough one. What would you do?
I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I'd be out on the street. I'd be like, hit me, bitch. You know, I've already mentioned that, you know, I'm a happy guy, but sometimes life just pulls you down.
Suicidal.
Right now is one of those moments. So that's what I'm gonna go with.
I don't know. There's nothing really you can do.
I don't know, man. Send some text to people.
Yeah.
That you know. you
It
love.
depends. Honestly, it's the sort of thing where it's like, if it was like a nuclear missile, right? I think my first reaction would be like,
Get in the fridge.
not get in the fridge, because that's like stupid. But
Yeah, that's what they do in all the movies.
yeah, like in the 70s, but not modern fridges. But I think my
Wait,
first
old
thought,
fridges
Yeah,
are better
no.
than modern
So
fridges for
basically,
nuclear
old-
radiation.
old fridges had something in them that we don't have anymore.
yeah, they had like a certain, they had like some sort of like lining or something to like close
Yeah.
it off or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think I'll start doing like the whole like nuclear missile prep thing. Like I'd start like filling my bathtub with water, start closing all the blinds, and like going to a basement.
Dog, you gonna get blown up.
No, it's not
No,
gonna
right,
hit. Like,
it's hit your
it's
house.
not
But,
hitting.
like,
The radius
I
is pretty
mean-
small.
Yeah. it's
No,
not gonna hit
usually it's like 25 to 30 miles.
No, it depends on which nuclear missile we're talking about.
I don't know my nukes.
Yeah,
so-
it's
I'm
they're
not like
varying
a-
levels. The biggest thing with nuclear missiles is the fallout, right? And I'm assuming they're not gonna bomb Conrich. I'm assuming they're gonna bomb Calgary, like the main part of Calgary. So I would hope that I'm good from like the initial blast.
Shit, I'm driving over to your place. That's what I'm doing.
You and me on Stony, that shit's
Yeah.
gonna be packed.
Yeah,
You're not
we're just gonna
good.
be like, yeah, that would be crazy.
What would you do, Vivek? Apart from sending texts to people.
Sending texts, and then trying to figure out where we could probably go that's somewhat safe.
Like, would you go out on the street or would you stay inside the house?
Dude, that's the thing. Like you have 10 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You'll be stuck on the street, and if the bomb hits, there's nuclear fallout
Yeah.
and obviously radiation after that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be out in the streets.
You want to be in your house.
Yeah, you would want to be here, like in this basement. Like you would just want to be in
Everything
this-
closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what if, like, the roof collapses?
Oh, then. Well, I mean, what? Then that means the bomb fell there.
Yeah. Doug,
I mean, yeah.
the bomb's
like,
not gonna fall on your house.
my understanding of how like bombs and nukes and shit work, like I just
think it's a fucking Bugs Bunny and Tweety show up.
like
That's all, folks.
So you got that dynamite or whatever. Boom.
nah, I just okay. So I imagine like
What if it just falls on your head?
Wily
yeah, I don't
shit.
know how nukes work. So I'm gonna
Beep, beep,
just
motherfuckers.
I'm gonna just go outside and just let it happen. Like that's my time.
Just don't look at the explosion, by the way, because that will blind you.
Yeah, but I'll be dead, so it doesn't matter.
No, I mean like I'm okay. I'm not saying if it doesn't fall on you,
You won't die right
And
away.
you're
Yeah,
looking-
I told you I want to be outside and I want to be
Say
hit
if
with
it
that
falls
radiation
on-
to the point where I'm just crisp.
say if the nuclear bomb falls on Calgary's downtown,
Yeah.
and you see it, don't look at it. Don't, because it will
But, like,
blind.
how do you see it if you don't look at it?
No, just obviously you can like hear it.
Yeah.
Just don't look at it, because like it will blind your eyes. You will literally, your eyeballs will be fucking like just destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, just don't look at. I'm even in my basement, yo.
Yeah, your basement vlog, yeah, it'll be the best place.
Yeah.
Just, you know. You know what I would recommend? You get in the basement, you turn on that mic, and you start recording the last podcast,
Bro,
bro.
the apocalypse pot. Yo, pack a bowl, one last bowl.
I mean, I got enough flavor for a little while.
It'll just be like the one apocalypse.
Yeah, straight up. And it'll be like, everyone's gonna tune in. It'll be like some apocalyptic radio
Yeah,
show,
you'll be
you
the
know?
last one.
In all those
like,
movies where there's like one guy talking on the
yeah,
radio.
he's just got like the
Yeah, that's when
the
we
tinfoil
blow up.
hat.
That's when we're blowing up.
That's when we're blowing up. When everyone else is blowing up, we'll be blowing up.
We'll be actually. Finally, our time comes.
Our fucking descendants, you know, like hundreds of years from now, when they uncover like Apple Podcasts, they'll be like, "Wow, these guys were really ahead of the time."
Wild.
No, it's a funny scenario. So thank you for our listener, or to our listener, for sending it in. And I hope you're safe in a nuclear blast or a missile launch or whatever. If you guys have thoughts on what you would do, definitely share them with us.
Who did they think the missile was? Where was it coming from?
Just all over.
It was North Korea.
North Korea just
Yeah,
bombs
they,
Hawaii.
They thought North Korea was gonna bomb Hawaii. It's pretty funny.
They got nothing better to do with their time.
Yeah, but it turned out. I think it turned out to be like a prank.
I
That's
don't
a
know.
fucked up prank, man.
Yeah, that's a pretty fucked up prank.
Like the news was like a year ago, so
Yeah,
don't
I remember that. That shit was crazy.
like the details.
Especially like it came in at like 9 a.m. Like for somebody like me that's like deep in sleep at 9 a.m. That would suck.
Yeah.
I just go back to sleep probably.
Mo doesn't wake up, just gets blown up.
Yeah, man, you wouldn't know.
That's
Yeah.
real deep sleep right there. That's,
That pod's called Last Sleep.
Lastly, we have the apocalyptic thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Amul has one last scenario for us.
I got two scenarios. One's deep, so I'll save that for the last.
These lights are flickering.
Oh man, we're about to get hit.
Yeah. Studio's acting up today.
But first scenario, I guess question kind of comes from like this tweet that I saw earlier this week, and the tweet was
Is it the LeBron tweet?
no, it wasn't the LeBron.
No one
tweet.
cares about LeBron and his tweets, man.
Yo, don't hate on LeBron, alright?
Yeah, everybody else is hating on LeBron.
Nah,
so-
you know what? They're wrong.
Burning jerseys out there, yo.
They're on the wrong side of history.
Someone said, yo, they're probably burning $10 fake jerseys.
LeBron is on the right side of history. I'm telling you that right now.
No, he's not.
He is. 100%.
He's not. Literally everything he said up to this point is to save his bag.
I mean,
Nah,
secure
I
the bag,
disagree.
but you know.
I disagree. But continue.
All right, so the tweet was, if you worked every single day, making $5,000 a day,
Yeah.
from the time Christopher Columbus sailed to America, which is 1492,
Yeah.
right? To the time you are reading this tweet, you would still not be a billionaire, and you would still have less money than Jeff Bezos makes in a week.
Yeah. One thing I
So-
wouldn't do is let that missile hit me. I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, I'm just saying.
But so they calculated it out, and they found out that starting from 1492,
Yeah.
January 1st, if you made $5,000 every single day
Yeah.
Till
you would be a
now.
billionaire.
you would have made $938 million.
That's fuck time, but
but you would not have.
Yeah.
You would not be a billionaire. $5,000 a day, no cuts from it, nothing. You're not paying the government anything. You're just getting $5,000. That's it. So my scenario that I was gonna ask you guys is, if you were able to go back in time, 1492, and you, let's say you're immortal, you go back in 1492, what's the way you would make the most amount of money? Like, till 2019.
Immortal.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 1492, you know, like.
Well, you gotta have to adapt. You gotta adapt. You can't be doing the same shit.
Yeah. You gotta.
I mean, nah. What you'd start off by doing is you'd try to overtake like all the trading companies that they had.
Shout out East India Company.
East India, Hudson's
That
Bay.
that wasn't around in 1400s.
Nah, like I'm
East
just.
India?
Yeah. It wasn't around in
East
1400s.
India?
It was like 1700s.
16,
I
17,
think.
yeah,
16,
No,
17,
but
18.
okay, so the
Yeah.
progression is like that's how all business started, right?
Yeah.
Like the global business trade started was through trading companies with all these different like nations from different lands.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do is I would take over those trading companies, use the money from that to purchase land, sublease the land.
Yeah.
Um,
So you would come to America? So
well, I mean, if I was making America and then I'd move, like I'm immortal, then I'd move on to like Africa. Then from there,
Everywhere.
I'd go to India, China, you know, like get rid of the whole opioid crisis in like China or whatever, like take advantage of that.
You're trying to be a savior.
No, like that's how they actually
Like
entered the Chinese market, right? Like
that's how you would, like, they would trust you basically.
no, but what I would do is like when those things were happening,
Yeah.
right, in history, like I'd be the front runner of like, all right, I'm gonna establish my business here.
Yeah.
If you're like the first company, people trust you.
Yeah.
And as long as you are competitive,
Yeah.
right, like, and you have a solid backing, which I would have had from, you know, America, Africa, India, I'd take over China, and then from there I'd buy Nike.
That's a big leap.
Jesus, he's like 1400 Nike. All right.
and then I'd probably buy all the press, like
So
all
you're
the
a
press,
dictator, pretty much.
right? And that way, it can never come back to me because the people won't hear about it.
Ooh.
And
Kim Jong Un shit.
and then I'd probably be richer than Jeff Bezos for sure.
I would just kill Jeff Bezos.
I would buy no, so
Dark.
and then you know, like after Nike, I'd buy Amazon, I'd buy Apple, I'd buy Google.
Yeah.
Like I'm assuming that all these things are still going to play out the way that they did,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's just I'll have a monopoly over the entire world, and I'm immortal, so fuck
Well,
with me, bitch.
I don't know if things will play out the same way because you're kind of changing a lot of history.
Well,
Yeah.
You're-
okay, but
Butterfly.
You're stopping, you know, the opioid crisis.
I'm
in
not
China.
stopping it. I'm saying like that's when people entered the Chinese market,
Yeah.
right? So we'll do that. Like I'll be the first one to enter at that point. Like I'm going into this scenario thinking that like things are going to go the way that they
same.
the
You're-
exact same
but
way.
You're just
but
gonna be.
I'm the one in charge.
Yeah. Probably.
That's what I would do.
What do you think? How would you make the most amount of money?
Yeah, if you own
You have,
everything.
you have 527
Yeah,
years.
it would have to start with trade.
Yeah.
Has to start there because that's what was.
that's how
that
how business started,
that,
right?
that was the big deal back then.
Yeah.
Like-
Start with trade.
I would make sure like all the money I get is like in gold bars.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Just make sure I get gold bars because you don't want.
I mean, that's the currency in 1492 anyway.
Yeah, but you
Right?
just make sure continuously throughout history you get paid in gold,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, that's
because
smart.
that's continuous. Like you
Yeah.
know that's gonna stay.
And it retains monetary value. It
Yeah,
only
yeah.
appreciates.
I mean, the biggest obviously would be land, like
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, come here, try to get as much land as I can, and if you have North American land, like you basically have life.
You just go buy property. Just go buy New York. Like
Yeah.
where New
Like-
York
Every city, every state,
was.
like is just mine.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'd probably do the same thing. I'd probably do like a bunch of shit that I knew, like you said, like I would invest in Google early on, Apple early on. I would get into like Bitcoin. Like,
For the little time that it was famous.
no, but, like
I mean,
Bitcoin went from like
Apparently it's
pennies.
not.
100 to like when it went to like 20,000.
Yeah.
So you'd get like you'd buy a bunch of Bitcoin and
I mean, when we were in high school, Bitcoin was selling for like $10.
yeah,
Like I remember having that conversation in one of our classes. Like it was with one of my friends, Yasser,
yeah,
and we sat down and he was talking about, yo, like there's this cryptocurrency and it's like it's cheap and we should buy it. It's going to become like the new standard. And then like 10 years later, everybody jumped on that shit,
yeah.
inflated the price up.
Bitcoin was one of our missed opportunities.
Lots of them.
Looking back, like hindsight, there's so many missed
Like
opportunities.
if you had 5 Bitcoins, you
Yeah.
could have sold it for like 100,000
Yeah.
at its
Yeah.
peak. Like
Done fucked up.
Yeah.
Fumbled the bag.
it was easy to get 5 too. Like it was nothing.
Yeah,
We were busy buying fucking video games and shit.
Facts. You put that money into
trying
Bitcoin.
to buy
Oh.
clothes to impress the ladies, you know.
Yeah, like buying G Star and Christian Naughty J and all
Yeah.
that shit.
I never.
True Religion
I never got
jeans.
on that shit.
Ed Hardy.
I never bought an Ed Hardy
I was a
shirt.
loser in high
I
school.
bought an Ed Hardy shirt. That was.
Yeah,
that was-
never brought. I bought Dom Rebel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I-
Dom Rebel was
I
I,
bought-
think I
I
had like
bought-
one Dom Rebel shirt.
I have like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still have like 3 or 4 Dom Rebel shirts.
I think I threw mine. I threw away all my shit.
Burnt it.
I was just like, fuck this. But yeah, like there's probably lots of ways to make money. You'd probably be a billionaire for sure.
If you were smart about it.
Yeah.
And the light blew out.
And there's no more lights in the studio. Damn, this is a mood right now.
Yeah.
Sitting in darkness.
Yeah. But anyways,
Yeah.
um,
What's the next scenario?
So the next scenario. Alright, so this is a deep one. This is an actual story. Someone posted on Reddit. So I'll lay down the scenario. So there's this dude in his mid-30s. He's been divorced once.
Okay.
He's dating this new girl. She's also in her mid-30s. And she has a child from her previous marriage. And the child is like 7 years old. So they've been dating for like a year-ish, right? So everything's good. Relationship is great with, the girl he's dating, and like her son, relationship's pretty great. And one day this guy's at work when all of a sudden the police come.
Okay.
Now the police come
To the workplace?
to his workplace.
Okay.
So his workplace, they arrest him, and they arrest him for child molestation. And he's like, what the fuck? And so, like, what happens is that it turns out that his girlfriend's son accused him of molesting him.
Okay.
So this guy got charged. He posted bail and everything. So he came back and he's obviously freaking out. He's texting his girlfriend like, "What the fuck happened? Like what's going on? Like I'm so confused."
Yeah.
And she's not replying to him. He's blocked. He's trying to text all his friends. He's getting nothing. Like a week happens.
A week goes by.
Yeah.
Yo,
goes
a
by.
week happens, bro.
A week happens, and he gets a call from his girlfriend, and his girlfriend tells him that what happened was that her son, the 7-year-old,
Yeah.
was actually molested by one of his cousins that was like 13, 14 years old.
Okay.
And then he was like, obviously the kid was like fucked up about it, and he told his mom. And then when his mom asked him like who did it, like that 13, 14-year-old kid who molested him, like basically like told him not to tell anybody. So like he freaked out and he said, "Oh, it was
Oh shit.
the guy." And so like she calls him, she's crying and everything. She's like, like I fucked up, I made a big mistake.
Alright.
And like I'm gonna go to the police and I'm gonna tell them, this is what happened, like, and that he's not responsible at all. The problem is that his workplace is like a kind of a big corporate PR company,
Right.
and so for them, like, even though he was free of all the charges,
He's labeled.
he's labeled, and like his friends don't really want to talk to him anymore because they don't believe the story. They just think like the girlfriend's just defending him, whatever, right? And his workplace ends up laying him off.
Yeah.
So, and then the question he posted this on Reddit, and he said, you know, like, what do I do? Like, do I get back with the girlfriends? What do I even do? Like, how do you even start with this?
All right, so I'm gonna recap the scenario. Essentially, what happened is, guy's dating a girl. Girl's child says that he molested him. The child was not molested by the guy. He was molested by someone else. Falsely accused. Shunned from society.
Yeah.
What should he do?
Yeah. So his thoughts were that, like,
I mean, his life's fucked up.
yeah, what he said was that, like, as much as I love this girl, like, she was like,
oh,
okay,
does he want, like, is the question like what should he do in the relationship, or like what should he do with life in general?
well, both kind of, but like he was talking about how like this like was like the perfect relationship, you know, essentially, and he was like,
so everything else was good.
Yeah, everything else was great.
But she didn't know.
And yeah, that's the thing. Like the way I was thinking about
yeah, but
it,
she
is
she
like
ghosted him for a week.
Yeah, like the thing is, like I don't think either of them are really wrong.
Yeah.
But it's like it's just a fucked up scenario.
Yeah, that kid's fucking retard, man.
Yeah, and
kid.
and apparently he also said like how like, you know, he got that kid wrote him like a letter and everything apologizing, and apparently like the kid's really messed up.
Yeah,
Like he's been crying and like, you know.
Well, no,
you
obviously
feel bad
like
for
the
the
kid, obviously the kid like was molested.
Yeah,
so,
and the kid, yeah, obviously like he's going through a bunch of shit.
No,
like
for sure.
that's not easy on any like
I don't know.
7-year-old child.
Here's what I
But
think you do. I think you get back with her.
So you can get back.
Yeah, I think you get back with her and you start to rebuild from there. You
Yeah.
don't want to lose all of it, and it's not like she
and
she knew and then she let him fucking go. You know.
Yeah, because I think she, like, the thing is, like, from her perspective,
if your child tells you that someone touched you and
you're gonna like respond right away, right?
Straight
like,
up.
You don't want to be that person because, you know, you hear stories about, we watched the Joker movie, right? Like, and like other scenarios where like you'll have the mom that like doesn't defend their child against like the person that they're dating, you know?
Yeah.
And if the person they're dating is fucked up, so like neither of them are wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, you lost your job. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
the job
and
part
as
is-
long as he doesn't actually have like charges on him still,
Yeah.
and there's no record, then he can get another job.
Yeah, I would say he probably has to move though.
Maybe move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yo, people forget pretty quick.
I don't
Like,
know.
you
bro.
don't
Depends on
remember.
the city.
This
How big
happened.
is
You don't
so this
remember,
happened. This happened in the UK, and like
Okay.
as you know, Vivek, like in the UK, like being called like he was being called like a nonce,
A
you know,
pedo?
like a pedo,
Pedo.
and like that's a big thing in the UK. So like,
Yeah, that's hard. Maybe we
That's-
might have to move.
yeah.
Might have to move.
What do you think, Shui? Like, what do you think he should get? I'll tell you what he does at the end, but like, what do you think?
I think if he actually truly wants to move on with his life and build like a new life altogether, which it seems like he has to do, I think he leaves her.
You think so?
I think he leaves her. He has, like, as hard as it was on the kid.
Yeah.
Like, if I was in that situation, like, it's not my child.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, even but there has, well, in like a
they
year
didn't have
or
a
so,
they didn't have a child together. Like, I'm just saying, like, building that relationship with that child is going to be
it's like
really tough. So like
Like, you little bitch, you accused me of molesting you.
no,
What do
straight
you
up,
want?
like, yo, this is a guy who's worked hard in his life,
Yeah.
right? He's obviously gone through some hardships in a past relationship, and he's finally beginning to trust someone again.
Yeah.
Like, from a guy's perspective, say what you will, but like, even if you love that child, it's not your child.
Yeah.
Right?
As much as a relationship you can build.
Exactly, and they've only been dating for a finite amount of time. It's not like they've been together for years and years.
Yeah.
I think he leaves them. He's like, I have to build my life all over again. Like, I've heard divorce stories. People, like, once they get divorced, their life is fucked for like a little while.
Oh yeah.
Right? So going through a situation where, like, yeah, sure, you might find love, but having to live in the same place as the person who's accused you of doing something that you didn't do, has ruined your life, has ruined your image in society, has degraded you to like nothingness.
Yeah.
right? Because that's how society views like child molesters, as they
yeah.
should.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a fucked up, like, to get falsely accused of something
exactly.
like that, it's
Yeah,
fucked up.
like you don't even do that like to the person that you hate the most.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you don't do
that's-
that.
Like that's actually like putting someone into the ground.
Yeah.
That's worse than putting someone into the ground, because now they actually have to like make a living.
Yeah. Like, they're screwed.
And so I think he leaves there. I think he goes on and starts a new life somewhere else. Probably changes his name.
I don't know if you have to change.
I
the
think
name,
it's changed name, but
You'd have
like
to-
I
you'd
said,
have to
people
move for
forget,
sure.
but you know, if he wants to stay around,
Yeah.
then he has to change his name.
Yeah.
yeah. So what does he do in the end?
So in the end, Trib is right. He does.
He leaves.
He leaves her.
Yeah,
He's
from a guy's perspective, like, say what you will, like, if that's not your child,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's very difficult to love that thing as your own.
Yeah, and he, like, his point was that, like, you know, like, the trust is kind of broken.
For sure, like, especially if she shunned him right away. Like,
Yeah.
as a child, like, first of all, I get it, you should talk to authorities or whatnot if you are molested.
Yeah.
But you should get someone older to do that.
Yeah.
And like the child should have had enough trust in his mom to tell her straight up, it's like, this is what happened.
Yeah, but I
That-
mean, like, I don't blame the kid. I don't really blame anybody in this situation, because I just think it's like one of those like extremely messed up situations where like
Yeah. That's just unfortunate.
that's just life, kind of like.
That guy would definitely stand in front of a missile right now.
Yeah, he probably would. But anyways,
He'll be
he
alright.
talked about how, like, you know, he's been getting, like, she's been getting like drunk and just calling him, like begging him to come back and all this shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, like, eventually I just like blocked her on everything.
Yeah.
So like, he's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm gonna try and move on completely.
Fair enough. I mean, you can't. Whatever he. does,
Yeah,
you can't really
like
blame
at the
You
end of
can't
the
really
day,
blame
like you
him.
got to take care of yourself, right? Like,
Yeah, like, yeah, because he was left on his own. At
exactly.
at
Like
that point.
in his moment of need,
Yeah.
she failed him.
him. Yeah. She ghosted. That's not cool. I guess.
Like you at least give the person like a small, you know, chance. Like
Yeah.
at least an opportunity to like
Explain. them.
explain themselves
But
and
again,
be like, yo,
like,
this is not possible.
like, even if he does, who does she trust? Her son?
She's going to trust her child for
Yeah,
sure.
right.
But, like,
That's what I'm saying.
I'm
like,
just saying, like, had she picked up the phone
Yeah.
and actually talked to him,
Yeah.
like
maybe it'd be different.
maybe he would have actually gone back there, because he would have been like, all right, you know what? I get it. You didn't believe me. I understand why you didn't believe me.
Yeah, you're put in a very terrible situation right now.
But the fact that she ghosted, like, yo, ghosting is just not cool.
Yeah.
Go, like, unless you've been in a situation where like everything has gone wrong for X amount of time, like you don't ghost.
Yeah.
Just because you're pissed, you
Yeah.
don't, like, it's immature.
It is very immature.
Like, learn to face your problems and learn to face like people.
Yeah.
Like, grow up. It happens a lot. Like, it happens on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, we know people that ghost and we've been ghosted. And
Yeah, yeah, that's just how it is.
No, like, we've all been ghosted.
yeah,
But I'm just saying, like, it's not cool. Like, if someone's reaching out to you to speak to you, you should give them the courtesy of letting them talk to you. After a while, sure, let go. But if your first reaction is to ghost someone, you're not the right person.
yeah, exactly.
Like, you get in your first argument, and this is how you're going to handle the situation. I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, that was
Oh, fair enough.
that was the situation. I thought I'd bring it up, ask you
Yeah,
guys,
that's
what's
heavy.
up?
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
We got our internet turn to close this off. Not today.
No.
All right, that's cool.
Yo,
So
stay
that was-
tuned. Next pod is gonna be Halloween themed.
The
It's
Halloween
full of scary
special.
stories and shit. You already
Yeah.
know, and we're gonna go through some of the best Halloween movies.
Oof. Yeah,
That's
let's
what we
do
gonna
that.
do.
I'm gonna just say Joker's there.
No, it's gonna be Halloween themed, like
Yeah,
Friday
Joker
the
is-
13th and
Jo-
shit.
Nah,
Like
Joker
fucking
counts.
Freddy
That was
Krueger.
Joker count.
Joker counts, bro. That's a horror flick.
No, that's not. That's not even a thriller. That's a superhero movie.
thriller.
It's
No,
psych.
It's
but
not.
It's
It's not superhero movie.
It's not. Oh, I mean, whatever, man. You stay
It's-
whack.
it's not Halloween.
Stay whack.
Yeah.
We're gonna do some real
Just
Halloween
because you want to
movies.
dress up as a Joker for Halloween does not
you'll-
make the
you-
movie as
We're gonna
Halloween.
go with the movie called Halloween. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
So we'll be going through all that and some scary stories, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a dope one.
Viv is gonna love that one. He's
I'm a paranormal.
he loves the scary movies. So
Yeah, I love that.
Vivek, you believe in ghosts?
I do. I believe in ghosts.
All right, save that for the next pod.
We'll get into that shit.
All right, so yeah, like I said earlier, our playlists are live. So if you guys want to catch up on some music, definitely go check those out on Spotify. Like us, subscribe to our podcast wherever you get them. Follow us on Instagram. It's at the One Mic Podcast. Start plugging it to some of your friends too. We don't mind you sharing our work now. So go for it. And until next time, which should be soon, because apparently we're gonna come out with a Halloween pod. We're out. Easy.